Sleep Deprived Games.
And welcome back to the Sleep Deprived Gamers podcast. I'm one of your hosts, John, also known as John B. the Tank.
And good evening, guys. My name is Matt, and we're back.
We're back. A lot of stuff that happened this week. The first thing I want to touch on, I know you guys are waiting for the Xbox One portion. We did PS4 last week. But as of a couple days ago, tragically to say, Paul Walker has died in a car accident.
Yeah.
And it sucks. I mean, he wasn't even driving. Another guy was driving. They were in a Porsche Carrera GT, and the driver lost control of the car, and the car crashed. Looked like the car pretty much split in two, and then pretty much exploded. There was fire. Thing was melting everywhere. There was no way he was making it out of that alive. And I've seen tweets from a lot of the Fast and Furious crew going out, you know, putting out their condolences for the family and saying, you know, heaven's gained another angel today. And the one that seemed really heartbroken about all of this was Tyrese Gibson, which plays Rome from the Fast and Furious movies. And there's a picture you can find with him at where the accident happened, just broken up in tears. And I don't know.
You know, a lot of times we see these characters in movies, right? And we see the flip side, and it becomes very, some people would say it's ironic that the way they go tends to be the way that we would have thought they would have went in the movies.
Right.
And
Heath Ledger
Ledger
went with a drug overdose, which a lot of people tie the people who played the Joker in the past in the Batman movies to have problems later in life. Him, and he ended up dying. And then in this case, Paul Walker, being in movies about racing cars, ended up dying in a crash with a car. He wasn't even driving, but in a sports car.
Mm-hmm.
On his way home from a charity event for, I believe, the charity that he runs, right?
Yeah, it's a charity he runs. He was actually there for
or he ran.
trying to gain money for the Philippine typhoon.
Right.
So that was actually his last public message. He actually recorded a video while he was there, asking people for their support. And it was, if you haven't gotten the chance to see that, definitely take a look.
Right.
It's very, those were his last public words. And
right.
I don't think that he could have picked better last public words, you know, and not that he picked them knowing that was going to happen, but, you know.
But as the last thing to come from him publicly, that's the best way to do it.
Absolutely. And just everybody that talks about him, talks to him, you know, they say that he is what he seems. He's not some kind of stuck-up Hollywood person that deserves the respect that
he was a pretty loved guy in the Hollywood community, and it's pretty heartbreaking to see him go. I mean, he has a 15-year-old daughter who I believe just started living with him recently, and it's gonna suck for her too. I mean, she just lost her dad, and a lot of those guys lost their best friends. And then on the Hollywood stand of things, they weren't done filming Fast 7. They've actually postponed filming until they can figure out what they're gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
Because they were supposed to begin filming again, I think, next week. I think they were going to Atlanta to do a couple of reshoots.
Yes. And,
on all sides of things, this is, you know, it's very tragic. So, if you guys ever get a chance, you know, go on Facebook and go to his page, leave a comment, you know, give some condolences to the family. I'm sure they'd love it right now.
So, moving on to just you know what this episode's about. You know, I'm glad that we were able to just give a couple moments, but we're ultimately talking about the Xbox One.
That's right. It's out. We have it in our hands. Well, I do. You haven't gotten yours yet.
I got hands on.
You got hands on, both at pre-thing and when I got it.
Yes.
I love it.
You know, I have a very, you know, the next gen is on a level playing field for me.
Right.
Because to me, there's only one reason to make that decision. That's community.
Right.
When we look at the hardware that's inside, it's going to be very much level.
It's very
across the playing
similar.
board.
I mean, yes, the PS4 is a little more powerful, but really, what are you getting out of the power? A little better graphics. Not even a big graphic difference. If you look at them side by side, you'll see the difference.
Yes,
but if you play one and then play the other,
but it does depend who's playing.
right?
That comes
Some
down to it.
people prefer the higher graphics over the lower graphics.
Mhm.
But when it comes to actual gameplay, they're about the same.
Yeah, I would say that. As far as the Xbox One, I really like the new controllers.
I love the new
my thumbs fit perfectly in the joysticks now, and they've taken on kind of a professional feel.
At first, I didn't like the smaller thumbsticks, but after playing with them, I like them.
So-
they feel there's a little less wiggle room, dead zone, a little less dead zone, a lot more reactive to the way I play, and I find myself doing better in games that I didn't do before.
So we've talked to George about this. George was on last week's episode,
Right.
and I don't know if we've had the discussion with him on what is what I would say, quote unquote, a professional joystick, because as you know, they don't use right out of box.
Right.
They're going to alter their
in his
controller.
mind, I believe he's told me he prefers the Xbox style, the asymmetrical style of joystick. And when it comes to the controller itself, he doesn't like vibration.
Really?
Right. He turns the vibration off. He actually told me that he, for his personal controllers, will take them apart and take out the vibration motors.
Really?
Because it also makes the controller weigh less. So for his personal play, and I'm sure they have controllers, with the competition where he just turns the vibration off, he doesn't like the vibration at all because it and he's right about his reasons. The vibration will cause your aim to go off when you're playing a game, and your movement will end up getting you killed in the game. Which, personally, I tried, following his advice and turning vibration off. It just felt weird. I was playing no vibration. I've been doing this my whole life. I couldn't do it. Ever since N64, where you stuck the
Rumble pack,
the Rumble pack in the bottom. But otherwise, this controller is great.
Yeah.
I love it. And you know what the crazy thing is? I'm actually using my Kinect.
Well, yeah, the Kinect has a ton of new features.
It has a ton. You can access anything.
I think what's really cool about the Xbox...
I can be like, Xbox, volume up.
Yeah,
Put your TV's
what's
volume
really
up.
cool about it is just that, the functionality with the Kinect before was limited to the device itself, and now we're seeing that it's expanding, right? So when they're talking about, they're calling it the Xbox One Y.
Because it's the all-in-one console.
Exactly. And
they're achieving it.
That is not limited to only your viewable media.
Right.
It's
also
becoming your
the media
controller.
that it's connected to.
It's becoming the controller to everything that's in your home entertainment center.
Right. It'll control your speakers if you have a surround sound system, your TV. When I go, Xbox, turn off. Yes. It'll turn off the TV
exactly.
as well. And by the way, if you're listening to this on speakers and your Xbox just turned off, I'm sorry. But I have a funny story about that, actually. I was playing online, and some kid had it so the feedback was also coming through his TV speakers. And I told him to turn it off because your Kinect's picking it up and we can hear it again. And he's like, well, maybe I want it coming through the TV. And I was like, fine. Xbox, turn off. Yes. And disappeared out of the game.
Oh, you're such an ass.
And that was fun. But the Kinect is great. I can, at any point, say I'm on YouTube. For sometimes, and this is understandable, the Kinect will try to pick up other voices, and it'll come up like, oh, what do you want me to do? I'll turn that off when I'm watching videos and stuff. So if I'm on YouTube, I'll say, Xbox, go to settings. And it'll go to settings. And I can go in there, turn off Kinect, press B, out of settings, brings me straight back to what I was doing.
I'm very surprised because Snap is very responsive.
Very responsive.
And I really didn't think it was going to be just like the demo was. Mm-hmm. And it really impressed me. I'm not going to lie. Because when I did it at the demo, right away, there's no load time.
Yep. Ready.
And I'm sure that down the line we're going to see something integrated with the PS4 to combat this feature, because it is a
they have voice commands now on the PS4 with the PlayStation camera.
Yeah,
They're not
they
very
do.
responsive.
They do, but it's kind of like the difference between dictation and Siri, right?
Right.
But that just goes down the path of, I can't wait to see some of these features, which I don't doubt they're going to be implemented, but I'm interested to see what they do with them down the road.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes for the Xbox One, too. Right off the gate, they have a lot of the new features. I feel like a lot of the community has shifted over to the PS4 simply because of a rage originally with Xbox. But I think that in the long haul, we're going to see more people start to switch back. Not only that, I think that there's a responsibility to Microsoft to, the gates are down. They took off running. Who's going to stay in first now? So you've got your hardware. How are you going to supplement that?
We've gotten our hands on the PS4 as well, and yes, it's a gaming console. But for one, a lot of their exclusive launch titles have been postponed. And the console itself does not feel next gen yet. The camera, yes, they added the camera and the voice commands. Xbox had that with the 360 about halfway through its lifespan. It doesn't work very well on the PlayStation. And their home screen, their dashboard, is relatively the same to the old one. It's got a similar layout, just less things to click on.
Ultimately, my question is going to come down to these companies, right? And they're making both these consoles. They're both very good in their own respect.
Yeah, from this point, it basically becomes
what are you going to do?
Software.
What are you going to do to keep your gamers? Mm-hmm. But not only what are you going to do to keep your gamers, what are you going to do to gain more?
Right.
What are you going to offer?
Do to win?
Exactly. Because the console wars, people are saying Xbox is winning the console wars, PS3 is winning console wars, Nintendo Wii is winning the console wars. Mm-hmm. But ultimately, it's going to come down to the console wars are not going to be won until PS whatever comes out.
Which is why
Xbox,
I want to make a quick statement real quick. I was going to do this, but I've decided not to. I am not going to rate the consoles and give them a number rating because when a piece of hardware like that first comes out, it's going to have problems.
Absolutely.
Both consoles are having problems right now. And they don't have everything. These consoles are both very bare bones right now because they just came out.
This goes back to a conversation we had about Rockstar.
Right.
And Grand Theft Auto 5. Mm-hmm. And you can't expect millions of something to go out.
No.
And it'd be flawless. It's uncanny to think about.
Right. We were talking about that in an episode when GTA Online came out, and there was glitches and glitches and glitches. And it's the same thing with these consoles. There's going to be problems, and they're going to be fed out, which is why a lot of people I know are waiting to get the new consoles until they feed out some of these problems.
And I've never been one to feel that way, right? Mm-hmm. Because there's only one reason. There's one reason I don't feel like that, and that's because, if there are issues, they're software-based. The hardware is already there. The hardware is here to stay.
Although Xbox One has been having one hardware issue with their I don't want to call it a disc tray, but their disc reader. Mm-hmm. For some consoles, a very small number, you stick in the disc and it'll make a grinding noise. Now, the disc is untouched. The problem is the gear that I guess rotates the disc on the bottom gets stuck. But Microsoft are taking those consoles in. They're also giving all of the people who have a problem a free Xbox One exclusive game.
Oh, that's nice.
So you can have your choice between like Dead Rising, Rise, Forza. So that's
like it.
Yeah. And if you turn your Xbox One upside down and punch it, the disc tray problem goes away.
So how about this? Instead of a number rating, mm-hmm. right now, based on what we've seen, I'm going to go ahead and give it 2 thumbs up.
Absolutely.
I like exactly. I like exactly what I'm seeing. I like the potential of where Kinect's going to go.
Right.
But that doesn't mean Microsoft can stop. They need to push forward. They need to keep coming out with exclusives. And they need to come out with new features that's going to make the Xbox One that darling child that we want it to be.
Right. And real quick, because we did the same thing with the PS4, I'm going to go over quick positives and quick negatives about the Xbox One. So, real quick positives. Kinect is great. The fact that I can access anything is great. The controller, also great. Mm-hmm. Their exclusives. They had a lot of Xbox One exclusives at launch. PlayStations are coming a little later. Do you have anything you want to add to there?
I'm just going to go straight down with facial and voice recognition, security features.
That is great, too. The facial recognition.
Security features on the device itself, parental controls, which a lot of people don't really get into. and ultimately design, software design, and hardware design come down to it because it's got a very aesthetic appeal. But not only that, it's not only aesthetic, it's for a reason, and it's very well ventilated. So going into those reasons, those are our pros right there.
Another pro I have real quick is actually a little thing that people don't really think about too much, but the fact that you can follow people.
Mm-hmm.
Because then you can choose people in the community that, per se, you probably won't end up on their friends list, and follow them. And follow what achievements they're getting or what game clips they've recently uploaded. And I think it's a pretty cool feature.
Mm-hmm.
And on the same hand, the increased friends list size.
Mm-hmm.
So I can finally have more than 100 friends, which on the 360, there was a lot of friends I had to delete because, well, I haven't played with you in a while and I need to make room.
Exactly. So going into some of the cons of the Xbox One, I think that
I cannot send out game invites.
I'm also going to say a distinct smaller community, and that's due to some bad marketing right in the beginning.
Well, none of that. Also, a lot of people holding out.
Mm-hmm.
Not as many people got it at launch. A lot of my friends are still on 360. Now, the good thing, one of the pros I forgot to add in is I can be signed in on both at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So I can still talk to my friends on 360 while I'm playing my Xbox One.
Another con I'm going to say is batteries. I think that at this point, batteries should be in the controller. That's my personal view.
Well, they are in the controller. They're not only in the controller.
I think that the battery should be built in at this point.
But at the same time, if you get the rechargeable batteries that they sell in the store, the battery life is excellent.
No, I'm not saying that.
It lasts much longer than the PS4.
What I'm saying at this point is, in 2013,
they should be built into the controller.
Nothing else is really using AA batteries. And while I see the convenience of it, not having to charge it every time,
well, I think
there's also a disservice to the customer because who has AA batteries on hand? It's not the early 2000s where I get toys for Christmas and automatically my parents are going to go get me a pack of AA batteries.
Right, but another reason they do that, and another reason I can see this being a reason they did it, is because you can buy those rechargeables. But with the PS4, the PS3 controller, I had a PS3 controller that I had to stop using after a while because after recharging it again, its battery life was just dwindling down.
Well, that's with anything. It's a consumable battery.
Right.
From our
Androids, by having a battery that you can remove, you're not forced to buy a whole new controller. You just buy a new battery.
From our computers to our cell phones, everything has a rechargeable battery. Yes, everything is a consumable battery.
But on your computers or your cell phones, you can take them out.
Not necessarily.
Most cell phones. Not all. Some Androids, some iPhones, you can't take the batteries out. So,
regardless, that's kind of what we're looking at for the pros and cons.
Mm-hmm.
So, moving on to the next thing, we've and this is kind of a significant moment for us here at Deprived Gamers, and I say that because since the very beginning, console v console, we've only been talking about next gen systems.
That's right. Now what?
And now they're here.
Now they're here. It's no longer next gen. They're now current gen, and 360 and PS3 are the previous generation.
Exactly. And, it seemed like so long ago when it first got started, but I think that this is now a turning point for sleep-deprived gamers.
Right. We can focus a little more on the software. There's not going to be as much hardware news out there, which is kind of good because we can start focusing on the little guy.
Exactly.
It's not so much... All right, we have a little bit of news about games, and in the console wars, we have all this other crap going on.
Exactly. So, I think that this is, guys. I'm really excited for what's to come in the coming months because this is what we've been prepping for all along. Console wars, even though they're always going to be going on, now we can stop focusing so much on the hardware, and now we can start looking forward to what we want to offer to you as our gaming community.
Right, and like we've said in a past episode, we're kind of changing the format of the show to where we talk a little bit more about each subject and choose the more important subject from that week.
Exactly.
So this episode you'll probably notice is a little bit like the old style, but the reason that being is because the consoles are here. So we're trying to get that out of the way. So you guys, if you're sitting on that line trying to decide which one to buy, we're trying to give you the best information for both consoles possible.
Absolutely.
So, but on that note, I would also like to say that we are going to be doing that new style that we talked about probably maybe a couple minutes from now in this episode, but mostly in future episodes to come.
Absolutely. So, in what I would say is some gaming and movie news, or celebrity news, if you will, One very, I'll say, special celebrity is suing Rockstar.
Well, she hasn't actually sued Rockstar yet. What's going on is the notion's out there she wants to sue Rockstar. And the reason for that being apparently they've used her likeness in 3 different ways in the game.
You know,
2 of which were in-game missions, one of which being the picture that everyone's seen of the girl holding the iFruit phone.
Exactly. Now, for those of you who haven't heard, this is actually Lindsay Lohan's actually putting up a notion to sue Rockstar based on her likeliness. It's not the first time we've seen it done, actually, in the last few years. She's tried to sue artists like Pitbull for featuring her in songs and other media for featuring the likeness of her.
Right. Well, this isn't the first time a celebrity has been angry for the likeness of them being used in a game before.
But
Ellen Page, her likeness being used in Last of Us, she was angry about it. She didn't sue them, but she was a little angry about it. And then the game she was in, Beyond Two Souls, came out, and there was a slight problem where people were finding out how to see her naked in Beyond Two Souls.
But there's a difference, Sean. You know, you played this game. You played Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yes.
I've played Grand Theft Auto 5. Did you once think Lindsay Lohan?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, twice. The 2 missions that they're talking about. So,
I really, you know, what the iFruit phone girl?
No, that I didn't think.
You know,
the other 2 things, yes.
I really didn't see too much of a likeness of Lindsay Lohan in terms of, you know, look.
Mm-hmm. Well, not so much look as much reference. But that's what Grand Theft Auto is they reference things.
But you cannot sue based on parody.
Right. That's what it is. It's a parody. They have a parody of Facebook called Life Invader. They have a parody of Apple called iFruit. That's what they are. Parodies.
Exactly.
Budweiser. Pissweiser.
Get a life building.
Exactly. Get a life. That's what she needs to do right now, too.
But
get a life. Stop doing drugs.
These types of trials, it'll probably go to trial if she does it. I don't think it'll pan out well for her.
No, she's going to lose.
But
mainly because Rockstar has 1 million copies worth of money to help them.
Yeah.
And she's just making stupid points. I mean, what are they going to say? Oh, yeah, that's just like you. You're a crack addict, dumb bitch that's making your stupid life choices like that. You win. But I don't know. It's just not going to play out well for her.
Mm-hmm.
What was some other gaming news that went on recently? I mean, it's been kind of a slow time. The consoles are out. Oh, Battlefield's been having some issues online. My Xbox One's actually been crashing while trying to play it because I guess the game wasn't optimized well enough for both PS4 and Xbox One.
Mm-hmm.
I think PlayStation got their patch ready to fix it. Xbox came out a week later, though, so we're still waiting on ours. But you'll be playing the game, and then all of a sudden, you're at the home screen. It's asking if you want to start playing Battlefield. so I just got my crazy 800-meter headshot. Oh, game crashed.
And honestly, I think that we're going to start to see that in a couple of other these high-profile games coming. You know, these games have pushed these systems to their limits.
Right. And you've seen how it looks, and they have 64 players
exactly.
in the game at the same time.
You know, and they're just coming out of the, you know.
Right. And it's like we were saying before. It's a brand new system. There's going to be problems.
And you couple that with brand new software with a brand new engine, and
brand new hardware that it's running on.
Exactly.
So another part of a little bit of news this week. EA's boss pretty much came out and said that he sees microtransactions not being the way of the future on the consoles. Which on the mobile devices he understands because he says that it's a different environment. Which it makes sense on the mobile devices because most of those games are small and free. But on the consoles, you're paying $60 for these games. It's a different kind of environment, and they just don't fit very well.
You know, and I think that we've already had this conversation already. I don't think, personally, that microtransactions in video games are the way to go. Now, mobile device is a whole nother ballgame. Mm-hmm. On the system, I'm paying for this game. I'm paying for what I would consider a premium product.
Right.
I don't think that I need to have to pay more. I think that you should be able to unlock things within the game.
An example of microtransactions on consoles actually from recently. Forza Motorsport 5. They have the option to buy cars instead of at the in-game credits with tokens. But to buy some cars like the Ferrari GTO, which is one of the more expensive cars in the game, would cost you more than the game itself to buy with in-game tokens. And that's ridiculous. Which is why they actually came out and said they're changing the way the entire economy works in that game.
Exactly. And, you know, for the first time ever, John, we were actually able to see what the new version of the Xbox Store will do.
Right.
They're able to have these sales at a whim now like the Black Friday sales.
Right.
And I've never seen that before.
These games just came out and they already have $10 off.
They're able just to raise and lower these prices now. And I don't think that these in-game credits should be directly derived from you having to pay for them. Then we're going to see people upgrading themselves just because they have the money.
Right.
It's going to mess with the entire game's infrastructure, and those that don't deserve it are going to have these really nice things.
Now, an example of a way a game was set up that probably planned microtransactions and found a way to work it in anyway without microtransactions is Battlefield 4. They have these things you unlock by rank called battle packs. And what they are random prizes that come with unlockables for your guns or double XP time. Now, it looks like something that you would have probably paid for because there's bronze, silver, and gold battle packs. But you unlock them instead by rank now. Or by completing some assignments, or by getting a lot of kills with a certain weapon. You get a battle pack that's specifically for that weapon. Now, that's a way that it was worked in. I guess maybe they had planned microtransactions, but once EA started seeing that microtransactions...
I find that very odd that EA, of all companies, comes down and they say... Nope, no more microtransactions.
Well, because they've gotten some... They're one of the companies that got the most feedback on microtransactions in the past. One of the more recent ones being Dead Space. A lot of people were angry about microtransactions in Dead Space, but really you didn't need to pay that money. You could play the entire game through. In a game like Dead Space, I don't mind microtransactions. You know why? Because there's no multiplayer. It's just campaign. So if you want to pay, you can pay. It doesn't bother me. But if there's multiplayer involved, unless it's only cosmetic, they shouldn't be there.
I agree.
But I think that's about it for this week.
I think that's about it.
Wasn't too much news. Consoles are out. Talked a lot about the Xbox One. If you guys want to know more about the Xbox One, find me on the Xbox One. Locate John B. the Tank. Follow me. Can't follow Matt yet. You can follow me. Actually, no. They can follow you. You just can't see anything about them. But
so, like a previous episode, like us on Xbox Live.
Like us on Xbox One. Yeah, just look me up, lowercase, JOHNB, caps lock, the tank, no spaces, Thackum, THACM.
THACAM.
CAM, Thacam. Okay, Thackum. So find him, find me, and follow us. Watch our game clips, which, oh my God, I forgot to mention that. Xbox Record That is the best feature ever. Because I no longer miss those excellent moments. Because I don't have my game DVR hooked up all the time because it doesn't let you watch Netflix and stuff like that. It's a pain in the butt. So, but, yeah. What?
Okay. Anything else, Sean?
No, that's pretty much it.
Okay. Guys, this episode of Sleep Deprived Gamers is brought to you by GoDaddy.com. If you want to go ahead and get the lowest price on any domain name and web hosting, head over to sleepdeprivedgamers.com/GoDaddy to save 50% on all new hosting plans. GoDaddy.com. It's go time.
I'm John.
I'm Matt. And like always, stay sleepy. Game on.
Sleep Deprived Gamers.